Hi, this is Bruce Humpla with Blue Sky Video Productions. Today we're talking about inspiration for the customer service professional. And even if you're not in customer service, if you even talk to your customer even once, this book really helped you. And the author is here personally, in person, doing his worldwide book tour here at BSVP on site. And Brian Minahan is currently the Vice President of Business Development for Prestige AV Creative Services, a 20-plus year veteran of the live event and hospitality industry. Brian's first job was as an event professional during his service in the U.S. Marine Corps as a combat visual imagery specialist, also known as AV Tech in Camouflage. So let's get into the show. So hi, Brian. Great to have you on the show. This is actually the second time I'm on a show with you today, and this is totally expiring. Or put the link in the show notes for the other show. But let's talk about you, less about me. I guess we'll start off with this is the book. It's called Customer Delight 365.
I thought this was the book.
This is the book, and so it's different bookmarks. So this is a great read because you don't have to, it's got actually 366 days in it, because when I first got the book, my mother was born on February 29th. So the first thing I did was check to see if there was an entry for February 29th, and there is. So
awesome.
on those days of the years like this, 2020, we had February 29th. So next time you can use that page is 2024. So either way, so it's a daily read. You can almost make a calendar out of this and sell that as well. So what is your inspiration, and how did you get into writing a book?
Well, first off, thanks, Bruce. I didn't wear my camouflage today since I've been out of the Marines for almost 30 years now. But my inspiration for the book is I've spent the vast majority of my business profession, or my time in business, in the hospitality industry. So the hospitality industry, I've got a chance to work in a bunch of 5-diamond hotels, constantly around various high-level hospitality organizations. So when I decided I wanted to write a book, I thought I want to take all those things I learned about hospitality, how you take care of a customer, and put it into bite-sized pieces and do that for customer service professionals. Actually, my first inspiration for the book was I was reading a devotional, more of something, a book called Jesus Calling by chance. And it was just a daily devotional with scripture and content. And I read that for about a year. And then it was like a few years later, I'm like, well, that would be a great format for customer service. And then I heard about this concept about customer delight. And I was attending actually a hospitality conference, and somebody did a presentation, and they said, well, when you merely satisfy a customer, they only have a moderate level of loyalty. But if you can actually take it up a notch and find delight, you can actually create a much higher level of loyalty. And so it really just touched me in a way that I hadn't considered. I thought, everybody does customer satisfaction scores all the time, Bruce. And you're like, well, why are you covering satisfaction when really it doesn't create loyalty? You actually got to get the delight. So let's cover some higher level thoughts. And so I wanted to have a book that basically covered what delight is. And so
I pulled up just one page, just a random page. I suppose I could have pulled up today's date, but I was just flipping through the book and noticed this one piece here, which was, I won't complain, I just won't come back. And then, so you're doing within this book is taking quotes that you find out in the world and then commenting on those. And your comment is, a scary thing is that it's about delivering less than expected customer service that is disappointed. Customers don't always tell you that they won't come back. They just move on. And so there's those little nuggets that you can almost take this book in random order. There's no really rhyme or reason, or was there rhyme or reason in which you ordered the book?
No, actually, in the front part of the book, I actually wrote that there's many ways you can read the book. And so, yes, you could read it from front to back, and you could go in order and start on January 1st. I like to call it kind of like delight roulette. I like to just open the book sometimes, like you kind of did. You pick a random date. And as an example, April 26th, the topic is the goal as a company is to have customer service that is not just the best, but legendary. And so I like to just open it up myself personally, partly because I wrote the book and I'm really in touch with it. And so I like the surprise of something I may have forgotten about. But another option is I like to say it's very important to read it out loud. And so a lot of people will just read it in your head. But I think if you actually read the words, it's more powerful. So I kind of built the book in a way that allowed people to interact with it in many different formats. And I purposely did it in daily inspiration format because we all have Facebook feed brains now, and most people don't want to read an entire chapter anymore. So that was on purpose, by the way. Maybe it's my own attention span as well.
So this, and I swear I did not set up this question, which was, where do I find the book?
Well, Norman, great thing called Amazon. You just go to Amazon.com and type in Customer Delight 365, and it'll pop up. You have two options. There's a paperback option and there's a Kindle option. Just make sure
you'll get the Kindle option today, and the Amazon, and like it says 5 days.
Yeah, Amazon's been a little slow on print recently. Normally they keep some stock in my book, but they've been keeping it more on demand. So sometimes it may take you 3 or 4 days, but the more people that order the book, the more Amazon will stock it. So order away.
And then I've also discovered that the used versions are more expensive than the new versions. I think what people do is they highlight their favorites, kind of like a textbook. And then, so if you get a used version, you've got all the best passages already marked for you.
Yeah, it's Amazon's its own little unique ecosystem of people who sell books. And I should probably start selling my used copies if they're getting more money. So this one's $100 if anybody wants this particular one.
Well, it's also, you can also get a signed version by the author.
Yes, I haven't done that yet, but I'm actually going to add a link on my website. I do have a website, brianmonahan.me, where I'm going to go ahead and allow people to buy signed versions, and I'll have a way for people to purchase via PayPal, and I'll get that out to you. So if you want a signed version, you could always shoot me an email at brianmonahan.me@gmail.com, and I'll work with you offline for that. But I need to get a link up there on the website so I can delight the customers who want signed copies.
Well, we'll also put the links in the description on both YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Norman, I hope you enjoy. I've had a lot of great feedback from people. You mentioned leap years, Bruce. I actually released the book originally in 2016, which was a leap year. And so it's weird. I've had this resurgence in 2020 of interest in the book through some of my friends like you and other people that I've met over the COVID period. And so I guess my book is meant to be shared in leap years.
There you go. Well, are you on a kind of a national tour? Because I know you've done a number of these interviews.
Yes, there's a gentleman named Mark Gassert. He's a sales trainer. I was on his show earlier in the month. I guess that would have been last month now. But yes, he does something called Mark's Message, and he's a sales trainer, and he does a daily show, and I was able to join him. Another friend of mine, her name is Kellen Fisher, and she does a coffee talk, and it goes out to just a really wide group. Bruce, I know you. I think you are one of the, what do you do? You provide the video support for that in the background. BSVPTV is the sponsor for that, I believe.
Yep. And it looks like Kellen is here watching.
Hi, Kellen. And Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Great to see you here. Got a little fan club following me around virtually. It's great to see you.
This is a good idea, is for those who can read quickly, because usually with a 365-page book, it takes me at least, a week, maybe a month to read it. But with this, I can take a year to read it. And I don't feel guilty taking a year to read it.
Yeah, although it ends up being a 400-page book because I added some short stories and a little bit of the forward material. Most of the items are really quick reads, and I purposely tried to keep it for interest, so nobody would be bogged down feeling like they're reading an extra long chapter or anything like that. But I also, a lot of people don't know there's actually a little hidden symbol here in the book, but what does that look like to you, Bruce? That little red.
Looks like a book. It looks like an open book.
But it also kind of looks like a heart too. And the idea behind that is, I think a lot of people get the difference between customer satisfaction and customer delight is the difference between being in your mind and being in your heart. And so a lot of what the book is about is helping people shift their process of how they're working with their customers to a more heart-based focus. And so that's kind of like my little hidden message for me to remember my heart when I'm dealing with my customers. So for those of you, this is the first book tour I've shared the little hidden secret, by the way, Bruce, right here on BSVPTV. So
excellent. And I think I actually got this from Norm, is that people usually buy, it was like 80% of the buying process is emotional and only 20% is logical.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know the exact stats on them, but it definitely is something in that space. One of my favorite things I mention in the book is the scenario of, like, say you go to a certain bank and you go through the drive-through and you bring your dog with you and they give dog treats out. Well, people like going to that bank because they give dog treats out, but they probably don't even think about how well the bank's managing their money. They just love the attention they get when they bring their dog through the drive-through. And so people make decisions based on how they feel, oftentimes more than how maybe even the quality of the product.
Yep, looks like that. So here's another way is read a page a day, and that is the logical way of reading it. But the emotional way of reading it is, I guess you jump ahead maybe 3 or 4 months and read a number of those pages, and then you go back to today. And by the time you get to those pages a few months from now, it's like it kind of in the back of your mind and reinforces it.
Yeah, I think with any new book, I mean, I think people are going to be like, I can't read just one page today. You're going to want to wet your whistle a little bit and get through the book. But the nice thing is, read the front. My recommendation is read the front matter first. There's probably about 30 pages that tells you how to read the book. It's got a little intro, and then pick up and maybe read 4 or 5 of the first entries, and then pick up on the day of the year it is, and then pick up from there and cycle through. That would be my recommendation. But hey, if you like to do front to back, go for it, and then start watching daily. Hi, Callan. I love my interpretations too. So.
Yeah, so you're basically just taking quotes randomly out of the universe and just repurposing that. You're actually having your take on that. It's kind of like doing a retweet with a comment. Because you're not just retweeting the content, you're giving people your take on it as well.
Yeah, obviously the quotes are very powerful, but I didn't feel comfortable calling it my book if I just did a book of quotes. I wanted to have a little input on it. And so, definitely that part. Also, how much I have a whole career of serving customers. So it's like, I want to share some of those things I've learned and give other people some ideas and know that there's many different ways to take care of a customer and touch their heart.
So let's give some value here, since we're in, and so we were talking before the show about video and integrating video and customer service. And my thought has always been you taking the content that bogs down your customer service department, where people are constantly calling you up, asking you pretty much the same question over and over and over again. And people feel more comfortable talking to a real person. But if they've got that question at 2:00 in the morning and your customer service department isn't open at 2:00 in the morning, how do they get that information?
Yeah, I think, you and I both share video background. I'm a little bit more on the event side of things, and you more on the marketing and supporting roles. But I'm sure we've crossed paths over the years on projects or something. But no, I think video right now is one, it can be on demand, obviously. So it gives you leverage of your time, so you don't have to have all those assets on call all the time. So if you can record video, I think it's a very powerful medium. I definitely think it's way too easy to do it right now. If you know, we're broadcasting live pretty easily right here, so you really don't have an excuse. Now, of course, somebody like you takes it up a notch. Maybe somebody needs to have better titles, better graphic overlays, things like that. But I think you have to get started first. And some other things I think that are really powerful about video right now is, you know, it's harder to get in front of your customers in person. So I think this is a great opportunity to be on camera and share a message and allow them access to you. I know you and I are in some similar networks, and I see you on video sharing other content, and it's almost as if I'm with you, even if it's not real time. I get the experience of hearing your message. I see your you know, your input, your ideas, but I don't necessarily have to see it real time, and I still get the benefit of feeling connected to you. And so I think there's a lot of great opportunity to share live video right now, or live video for replay, and stay connected with your customers in a very meaningful way.
A lot of times, I think the first time I connected with the group that we're currently in is the leader of the group kind of basically sent a Facebook message, and it wasn't even Facebook message. It was more like a video call via Facebook. And if you're open to that, if you're a small enough company to open up your department, your customer service department, where someone can just pick up their Facebook Messenger, hit the video button, and be live with a person on demand.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be crazy not to leverage that opportunity right now. I mean, why? It's easy, it's available. You know, we've done a number of conferences recently where our help desk is a Zoom room, and so I think people respond better. You have facial expressions, you can get connected with them easier, and you're going to have a higher end outcome versus just over the phone where you don't know the person. It's nice to see the person you're talking to in front of you. And so there's a lot of good opportunity there. So we had huge success with that virtual help desk through a Zoom for a particular event, because the presenters were actually able to call into us, say, hey, I'm having a challenge getting in. You're like, well, your camera's working because you're talking to me on Zoom right now. So, you know, it actually gave us some extra opportunity to troubleshoot some things. So
it doesn't, video does enhance your brand and make it more personal. So, but also I've heard a lot of people are zoomed out. They don't want to do all that face to face. They're always looking at the camera, trying to look at the person they're talking to. But if you're in a real life situation, you're not going to be staring at that person 100% of the time, and it looks kind of weird if you're in the same room, like just staring at that person. and they also get really close, personal space and all that stuff, 6 feet apart. But I took a phone call the other day, and they decided they didn't want to do it through Zoom. They didn't want to do it through video. And I ended up starting to do other things while I was on the phone. I was finishing up a project outside the room. I was moving some things around on my desk, and sometimes you're distracted that way with a audio call, with a video, or with a phone call. I think doing face to face, it is more like in person, where you are demanding the time and attention of the person you're talking to.
No, I think that's a good point. And I think it might actually be a better option, because I think, like you said, it does require a higher level of commitment, and people can't fake it when you're on camera, so to speak. So I personally thought a phone call was going to be nice to get back to. I was feeling some Zoom fatigue myself. But when I do phone calls, I realize how much more work it is. And I've actually found myself doing more. Our company actually uses Teams internally, and it's really easy to get a hold of somebody in my Teams rooms and bring them on and gather a group together. So I've made the shift. Personally, I have a personal passion. I call it be the trend. And I always like to push myself to be a part of the latest technology. So I may not be a perfect case study for this, but I like to be engaged with what's new. And so that way, when the technology matures and everybody's using it, I'm already an expert, so to speak. And so that would be my recommendation, is that you embrace this. This is not going away.
Yeah, I was on a conference call the other day, and basically their concept was the leaders, those who succeed, are the ones who adopt and learn faster.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lifestyle choice for me. I know it actually started at Prestige many years ago when we were a much smaller company. We were doing a company meeting and we weren't using any AV for the meeting. And I said, this is ridiculous. We have to use our product. And so I started demanding. And then you'll know this, but video and slide content moved from a 4:3 format, which was more square, to 16:9. And so I made a commitment personally that I'm going to do all my slides in 16:9 and all my content in 16:9, because I want to be a part of what the next version of video is. I haven't necessarily shifted all my content to 4K just yet, because it's still the same shape for the most part. But, definitely embracing the live aspect of things. I was recording a lot of video. I think you are too. But this pandemic timeframe, the shift is to this live aspect. And so I've been trying to get my bearings in it right now, because next year it'll be normal to have live video all the time.
Yep. So we got a hello from Coach Phil from Canada. And then we also have a question. Can you speak about who's been delighted by your service?
Oh, I think Michelle was going to ask me a different question. But so who's been delighted by my service? Well, a lot of my clients have been delighted by my service over the years. I think as an AV professional, one of my approaches has always been to meet my clients where they need me. I don't try to sell people what they don't need. I try to be consultative, and I try to think about what their needs are more than what my needs are, in terms of I'm not trying to sell you what you don't need for your event. And so I think my clients have always appreciated that. I also go the extra mile. I've had a lot of clients that are actually out of jobs right now, and I actually help them look for jobs and make contacts for them. And so I personally just like to get invested in my client's life and say, I'm part of your team. And if I can support them with what they're doing in their life, then I know they're going to be around for the long haul. So it's nothing super fancy. It's really just about being human more than anything. It's a great question, Michelle. How about you, Bruce? If you had any great customer delight experiences that stand out to you?
Actually, I think I've kind of adopted him as my my cheerleader. So we did a series of testimonial videos for this one client, and he kind of balked at the price, because he said, well, I can do one for this price, or I can do 5 for this price. And I said, well, and the overall cost of doing 5 brought down the per piece cost.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a series of testimonial videos. We went out to his favorite clients, and they basically described what he did and how he was able to close deals for them and help them get to their goal. And it actually ended up increasing his revenues 10x for that year.
Wow.
He ended up closing a multi-million-dollar deal because of the video. And every time he's been in a room, and where I'm there, and sometimes even when I'm not there, he'll basically sing my praises.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Actually, you brought up an excellent point, which as we've been talking about live video and keeping that connection with your client, testimonial videos are obviously like a no-brainer. Nobody likes to hear it from the source. I'm great. Prestige is great. My book is great. That doesn't carry as much weight as that third-party reference from you, Bruce, or for Michelle, who's here in the chat, or Kellen. You want that third-party testimonial, and that's what makes a difference. I think what we're doing right here is a great format. Another friend of ours, Eric Bam, with incredible pizza liners, Perfect Crust Pizza, he actually interviews his customers on Instagram, and that's brilliant, because give your customers attention, give them some FaceTime on TV. Everybody wants to be a star. You're guaranteed they're going to come back because you gave them something that everybody's looking for. You know, what's in it for me? Dale Carnegie, my name is the most beautiful thing. Well, next best thing is to put somebody up on the TV screen, and they love it. I think that's what's really powerful about this actual platform you're working with here today, is you can bring the comments up on the screen. That's another way to have people feel engaged with your conversation, another way to feel delight, so that it's not just a one-way conversation either anymore. You want to create a two-way connection in this space.
So I think I kind of coined this phrase a few years ago, that if you say it's bragging, if a customer says it, it's a testimonial.
That's excellent, Bruce.
Just to show you a reference of bringing comments up on the screen as well.
No, that's, yeah, I mean, your clients are happy to say great things about you. If you have a clientele, they've been doing business with you, they've chosen you because they like you. So take advantage of that. And many of them would be happy to help you. I know I'm helping, you know, you're a new friend of mine. I want to help you find clients. I want to help introduce people to you. So your clients are going to feel the same way. You've given them a great product. They're going to be happy to help. So take advantage of that. And one easy way to do it is just to bring them on a show like this and interview them and do a case study live. Yeah. Better know the backstory first, though.
Well, definitely, because now you can actually research them. You send me a list of questions to ask. You send out, as any author should, if you've got a book, if the interviewer hasn't had a chance to actually familiarize themselves with the interviewee. We did the same thing at the Sundance Film Festival. Is if we didn't have a chance to see the movie, the PR people gave us a list of questions that we could ask. And so providing them with content that familiarizes you with them prior to the interview also helps.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, there's definitely a technique to this format to get the maximum value out of it, is to actually, you know, have a plan for it. So not just to show up on screen. It is effective. You can have some spontaneous experiences, but if you can prep somebody with a little information, have some talking points, have some pre-built questions, it definitely leads you down a place where you're gonna get the most value out of a conversation.
Yeah, I don't think I've asked you any of the questions on your list yet. No. But we do have a couple more questions from the gallery. So what is your walking tune for the rest of the year?
Oh, I have one walking tune for the rest of the year. What is it? Wow, this is a stumper. I'm going to have to think. Let me get out my phone. Where's my phone?
So how far do you walk a day?
I average about 4 miles a day. My goal is 5 miles, 4 to 5 days a week. So I shoot for 25 miles a week. And I actually, Michelle's asking because I share playlists with my friends all the time. I'm a big music buff. Anything before 1985 is pretty much on the list. What I need to see what Spotify says I listen to the most.
We can also put that in the description too.
Oh, you don't want me to find it, Bruce?
You can find it. In the meantime, while you're looking for that, I'll get you another question to totally distract you from that question.
Yeah.
So kind of like the squirrel. Like, okay, let's get distracted.
Right. If there was only one, it would probably be Neil Diamond's "Sweet Caroline." I mean, you can't go wrong with Neil Diamond.
So do you sing it out loud as you're walking too?
Oh yeah, so good, "Sweet Caroline." Oh, there we go. I need an opportunity to sing, Bruce. Thanks.
So what's your favorite experience or successes with customer delight? Or with the philosophy of it?
That's a great question, Phil. And actually, the most interesting thing about customer delight and customer loyalty is that customer delight and customer loyalty go up when you screw up. Okay. So you've probably seen the data. I know Coach Phil does some sales training, but when you screw up, and you acknowledge it, and you care about your client, and you call them up immediately, and you say, listen, I screwed up. Here's what I'm going to do about it. Here's how I'm going to fix it. Your loyalty actually goes up. people appreciate that you paid attention and that you got straight about it. So my best success stories always have been around screwing up. And so I say, screw up more often and fix it. And so the truth is, in technology, I have a motto, which is technology will fail. And that applies to everything else. Your business will have issues. You will have challenges. And so part of Delight is having a plan for those challenges in advance. Nordstrom has a thing where their reps can solve a problem with a $300 budget. I don't know the exact number, but how do you have a plan in advance? I always tell my sales team, hey, if you have a challenge, I encourage you to trust yourself and fix it as soon as you can. Make your best judgment, because the longer you wait, spilt milk doesn't get better. Even if you put it back in the fridge, it's still bad milk. So you got to fix it fast. And so I always encourage my team to address things. Nobody likes you to have excuses. So if you can get honest about it, I'll be frank. I just had an issue in the recent week where I had as we're moving into a new platform, new technologies in the virtual, I had a particular feature that just was not working the way I liked to. And I had to go to the client and just say, listen, I'm not going to recommend we use this. It's not reliable enough. Don't like the outcome. I know that I brought this up to you as something that we could deliver. We can't. I'm going to take it off the plate, but I can do this for you. And I think that's the key, is that whenever you need to give bad news, have a next step. One of the owners of Prestige passed away in 2015. And one of the biggest things I learned from him in this space is we actually had an issue on an event. And here's what he did. He said, well, I'm going to give you a discount on this year's event. And then he followed up and said, I'm also going to give you a discount on next year's event, right off the bat. And I was like surprised. I'm like, well, you made it whole right now. He goes, well, I don't know that they're going to come back next year if I don't provide them extra value already. So what I liked is he took it into the future. He said, we screwed up now, and I'm going to take care of you in the future. And I think that's one of the key factors in Delight, is that you're always thinking ahead. You're trying to be ahead of your client, and how do you take care of them? I don't know if that gave you a specific enough scenario, Coach Phil, but that's basically the theory behind it.
Well, again, I do not recommend screwing up on your customer on purpose on a continual basis. After a while, they will catch on either that you're doing it on purpose, or even worse, you're doing it by accident, and they will not come back. And they will not tell you that they're not coming back. They just won't come back. Yeah,
that's February 11th, by the way.
So they kind of tie it into the around. So what is the best way to contact you? I have your profile up here, which is at Brian Monahan. So what platforms are easiest to reach you on? Is it Facebook? Is it Twitter?
I think LinkedIn's my favorite place for people to connect with me. I'm Brian Monahan. I'm at LinkedIn/Brian Monahan. Same on Twitter. I got at Brian Monahan as well. Otherwise, prestigeav.com if you're looking for event support help. And then obviously I have my personal website, brianmonahan.me, where I keep some of the information about my book. So go to LinkedIn. That'll take you everywhere else.
Excellent.
Wow, Bruce, you're good. Did you type that fast, or did you already have it in the?
That was a copy and paste on the last one.
All right.
It helps avoid typos, because one thing you don't want in a link is a typo.
Brian with an I, by the way. There's a big debate out there. Brian with an I or Brian with a Y. It's definitely Brian with an I.
I did notice that in the one comment from Phil that he did misspell favorite. Of course, that may be the Canadian version, of course.
Yeah.
Just ribbing you, Phil. So
that's the favorite.
Yep. Well, thanks for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And Brian with one eye. There you go.
I have a joke, but I'm going to hang that for another day.
That's a different Brian, isn't it?
No, one of our friends.
Yep. So I think we also have another character named Eric, and Eric with one I as well.
Yeah, correct.
And one E. No.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brian with one R too. A lot of people call me Brain pretty regularly as well.
Sometimes I'll type in Bruce and start typing in Brian or Brace or something like that if you type too fast. So now that we've gone on a rabbit hole, we've got your contact information in there. So again, if you want to subscribe and follow us here on BSVPTV, so turn notifications on. So next time we go live, you will be notified. And next week we have a special guest, which is Vivica von Rosen, also known as the LinkedIn expert. So if you want to learn about LinkedIn, Vivica is one of the top people in the industry to learn from. And so we finally got her scheduled in. So I hope you can join us next week. And again, like I said, just follow us and subscribe us and you won't miss it. So we have one last comment, which is I frequently do Brian with autocorrect misses it. Brain and Brian.
Absolutely. Brain's a real word. So
great. So let's one last thing before we go is, again, as I mentioned right here, we'll have a link to the YouTube channels and upcoming videos and anything else that will be over here. So again, thank you all for coming and have a great week.